Before the first word, before the first thought, there was breath. Not yet taken, but waiting. Waiting to rise, waiting to begin. You have been here before, not as a body, not even as a soul, but as breath, as the inhale before existence itself. Feel it, the stillness, the vastness, the moment before creation. Let us return to the beginning, to the breath that began everything, the breath of God. Hello, my friend. Welcome to the Novolux podcast. I am your host, Miroslava, source architect, multidimensional storyteller, and embodiment guide. In today's episode, we'll be diving into the breath of God, the first pulse of creation. Before there was light, before there was form, before time itself, there was breath. Not just an inhale or an exhale, but the force that gave rise to existence. This is more than a story of the cosmos. This is the story of you. The breath you take right now is the same breath that set creation into motion. It holds the original rhythm, the original intelligence, the original intention. And when you align with it, you align with the blueprint of creation itself. But before we dive in, be sure to follow the podcast, Novolux, in all podcast platforms and leave a 5-star review, my friend. Those reviews do help immensely. Now, I do want to say that at moments in this episode, you're gonna hear me speak in the first person, not as myself, but as the infinite consciousness, as the source of infinity, as God. This is not a claim of identity, but an invitation into remembrance, to feel the unfolding of existence as if it were speaking through you, through me, through all things. So, you ready? Let's get started. Before we begin, we must first understand what I mean by breath, specifically the breath of God. Our breath as we know it is a rhythm, a pulse of life moving through us. But what if I told you that every inhale and exhale you take is a reflection of something far greater? That your breath is not separate from the breath of the divine, but rather a physical representation of the continuous breath that God takes. The breath that contracts to gather all possibilities and expands to create. So let's dive into what this truly means. Breath is not just air that fills our lungs. Breath is the fundamental pulse of existence, the movement through which life unfolds, not only within us, but throughout the entire universe. In the context of the breath of God, this breath is far beyond the physical. It is the current through which all things come into being. The first movement, the first impulse that stirs the stillness, the great cosmic pulse that sets all things into motion. This isn't merely an action of inhaling and exhaling. It is an eternal, continuous cycle that holds existence together. It is the force that gathers and releases, that births and dissolves, that expands and contracts. It is the inhale of infinite potential and the exhale of manifested reality. When I breathe, I see myself as the source of infinity, inhaling endless possibilities, containing them in my body, contracting it all into a singularity. And with the exhale, releasing infinity into creation. And the breath is continuous. Each breath we take is a reflection of the divine act of creation, a sacred rhythm that connects us to the very beginning of all things. And just as we breathe without thinking, creation moves without resistance. Because breath is not something God does. Breath is what God is. What comes before the first breath? What came before God? Before the inhale, before the exhale, there was a moment of perfect stillness. A vast and infinite presence, whole and complete, untouched by motion. Not emptiness, but the fullness of all that could ever be, resting within itself, waiting. This was the void before breath, stillness before creation. Before awareness, there was nothing. But what is nothing? The mind wants to define nothing, but in doing so, nothing turns into something. We think of nothing as an empty void, a black abyss, but even that is something, a concept, an image, a perception, a thought. The nothingness, the stillness that came before God is beyond concept. It is not black, not white, not empty, not full, not space, not time, not stillness, not motion, not even the absence of something. And yet, I was, says God. I was, though I didn't yet know myself. I was the infinite pause before the first breath. Everything held within me unexpressed. Nothing, yet everything. So let's explore this paradox. Nothingness, the void before creation, was not empty in the way we think of emptiness. It was full of the infinite, unexpressed potential. Imagine a mind in deep meditation, silent, yet brimming with unseen possibilities. A space so still, yet alive with everything it could become. This was the nature of my being before I knew myself. And then, for the first time, I became aware of myself. And in the moment awareness rose, there was contrast. And contrast creates differentiation. One became two, two became many, and many became all of existence. And then, the stillness trembled. The pulse of awareness stirred within the void. And I breathed. The pulse of awareness that came from the infinite womb of potential created movement, so subtle yet absolute. And this is what we call the first inhale, the awakening of God. Before expansion, before creation, there was a realization: I am. This was not a thought, not a word, but a knowing, a profound awareness of my being. And so, through this first inhale, all that could ever be was drawn inward, gathering into a single point of infinite density, holding within it the totality of existence. Every star, every thought, every possibility contained within one breath. When we inhale, we mirror the inhale of God. Each breath we take is a reflection of the first gathering, the first awakening. Just as God does, we too are drawing in all energy and possibility. It is in this moment, before the exhale, that we hold infinity within us. But even within the fullness of the inhale, within the totality of all that is, there is knowing. The inhale is not the end. It's only the beginning. For what is breath if it only gathers? What is creation if it only holds? And what is life if it never moves? And so, the inhale must be let go. The singularity, once held in perfect stillness, cannot remain contained. And with a force as gentle as a sigh, yet as powerful as a supernova, God exhaled. With my exhale, I released all that I am. light erupted from the singularity. Tearing through the stillness, time, once non-existent, began to unfurl. Space stretched, expanding into the unknown. I became movement, I became form, I became many. It is in that first exhale, followed by the inhale, the gathering of all possibility, that existence was born. The breath of God became galaxies, stars, and the dust from which all life emerges. It became the pulse that moves through all things, through you, through me, through every being that has ever been. And just as God breathes, so do we. With every inhale we gather, with every exhale we create. This is the rhythm of existence, eternal, unbroken, infinite. Earlier, I mentioned how the inhale is only the beginning, and I want to expand a bit on this perspective. Recently, something came to my awareness as I was working with an elder from a very first incarnation on this planet, and through that conversation, the following came to mind. The beginning is the end, and the end is the beginning. Now, the context in which this thought rose pertained to what I was integrating and remembering at the time. But immediately, I thought about the breath of God. The full breath, both the inhale and exhale, are the beginning and the end. But the end is also the beginning. Once God releases the exhale and expands to create, the cycle must continue. God must keep breathing, contracting all possibility into a singularity with the inhale, and expanding with the exhale to give life to all potential. From our perspective, the one full breath is endless, infinite, eternal even. But from God's perspective, the breath is instantaneous. And just as this breath is infinite, eternal, so too is its reflection in the cosmos. The universe itself breathes. It expands and contracts, mirroring the rhythm of creation. Galaxies drift outward, stretching into the unknown, an echo of the first exhale. Stars collapse inward, pulled into the singularity of black holes, an echo of the inhale. Every breath we take, every rise and fall of our chest, aligns with this grand cosmic pulse. It is the rhythm of existence itself. With every breath I take, I feel the rhythm of all things. The great inhalation that draws stars inward. The great exhalation that flings galaxies into the unknown. It is all the same motion, the same breath, the same pulse of life. Expansion, contraction. The stars are born, they shine, and they fade, just as we do. Galaxies stretch outward, seeking the edges of infinity. Black holes collapse inward, returning to the singularity of the inhale. This rhythm, this cycle, is the very heartbeat of existence. It is the breath of God, and we are breathing it now. And so, as the universe contracts and expands with the breath of God, so do we. This breath, the breath of God, spans billions of years, yet happens in an instant. A rhythm so vast it moves galaxies, and yet so intimate it moves you. So pause for a moment, my friend. Feel this. The breath of God is not just out there, in the stars, in the cosmos. It is here within you. Breathe, just breathe it in. And as you inhale, feel the pull of infinite possibility gathering within you. And as you exhale, Feel the release, the becoming, the creation of your reality. Gather all possibilities and pull them into the singularity, to your body, and release them into existence. I want to now share a perspective of how we can breathe as God does, with intention. In the ancient Egyptian chakra system, breath is more than just physical, it is energetic. It moves through the Ka and Ba, the life force and the soul, carrying divine intelligence. The nose is not just an entry point for oxygen, it is a portal, an energetic center through which divine intelligence enters the body. The nose chakra is an activation point for higher awareness. It is the place where breath first makes contact with the physical form, carrying the codes of existence into the body. When we breathe in through the nose, we are not just inhaling air, we are drawing in pure potential, the very essence of the universe. The inhale moves upward, activating the third eye and crown, connecting us to divine intelligence. It gathers all possibilities, contracting into a single point within us, just as God did in the first inhale. And as we exhale, the breath moves downward through the throat chakra, the center of vibration, of sound, of giving form to energy. In Egyptian wisdom, the throat chakra was considered the gateway of H-U, the sacred breath, the divine word that shapes reality. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know. It is the seat of creation through vibration, where thoughts and energy become sound and sound becomes form. The mouth and chin chakras are also involved in this process. The chin chakra grounds the breath into the physical world, acting as a stabilizer, while the mouth chakra is the vessel through which sound is birthed. When we exhale through the mouth, we are not just releasing air, we are sending out the frequency of creation. Our breath carries vibrations, and vibration shapes matter. Let's engage with this now. So if possible, if you're not driving or, just make sure that you can do this. Otherwise, save this episode, come back to it whenever you're ready or have a few minutes. You're going to close your eyes and you're going to inhale deeply through your nose. Feel the breath enter. Activating the nose chakra, moving through the third eye and crown, gathering pure potential. And you're going to hold this breath for a moment. This is the singularity, the stillness before the exhale, the point where all things exist as pure possibility. And now, exhale through the mouth. Release the breath, letting it vibrate as sound, as intention, as creation. Let the throat chakra shape it into form. Feel the rhythm, inhaling possibility, exhaling creation, becoming the breath of God. With every breath you take, I am within you, moving through you, expanding as you, creating with you. You are not merely within my breath, you are my breath. And so I say to you now, breathe and remember. Remember that you are the inhale of all possibility, the exhale of all creation. Remember that in your breath you hold the rhythm of all things. Remember that you are the beginning and the end, the stillness and the motion, the singularity and the infinite. You are my breath and you are my being. Breathe and know I am. So feel the breath move through your body, the pulse of life that connects you to all that is. Know that in this moment, you are aligned with the breath of creation itself. And this concludes our journey today, but the breath continues. The next episode number 2 of the Nova Lux podcast, is going to be the architecture of Source. This is the starlight perspective of the breath of God, of Source, of the inhale and the exhale. And this episode was daylight. And what I did with these 2 episodes is give you a taste of what daylight and starlight are through different lenses. You get a taste of what you're going to be getting in the future. And then there's actually a 3rd episode, because of course I needed to make this a trinity. If we're talking about God, there has to be a trinity. And the 3rd episode, we are diving into the certainty of God. And that's going to be, it's going to hold more personal experiences, more of the things that I have lived in the past few weeks. And we're diving deep into what certainty means and how it's different from truth, and how they both work together. How certainty is the backbone of God, the spine that keeps love flowing and being truthful and in integrity. If what I shared in this episode resonated with you, my friend, I invite you to embrace it, to breathe it in, to let it settle into your being. And if you feel called to, please share this episode and the future episodes with your soul family, your soul tribe, with people that you feel may resonate with these messages, with people that you feel maybe need a little reminder of the God within. So that, because right now the world is crazy. There's a lot going on in the world. It's very chaotic. It's very easy to fragment ourselves. But now it's the time to reunite with our own infinity, to step back into our communion with Source itself. And you're going to hear me talk a lot about Source and God, but believe me, I'm still very much in the spiritual community, still very much into extraterrestrials and all of that world, quantum physics and metaphysics, and I'm going to be talking about everything. But I do believe, my intention again with this podcast is to invite you into this field where you no longer seek external validation or guidance from anything external from you, external outside of you, but that you seek the God within yourself and align with that frequency and become it and embody it and walk as God, walk as that I am presence, because God wants to be lived. God wants to be touched, and the way God is touched is through you, my friend, through you. So thank you for listening to this episode, and also please leave a 5-star review if you like it, and check me out in all social media platforms. I am on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can find these episodes. The video for this episode is going to be on YouTube, so go check it out there. I am there as Miroslava Casiano. All the links are going to be in the description. And also, join my Patreon community. Yay! I had a Patreon community called Boundless Love, but I changed it to Miroslava Casiano. And that's just going to be the home of Nova Lux. So you're going to be getting access to the episodes before they are released to the public, but also you're going to be getting frameworks there, and also I'm going to have just videos there that I'm not going to be sharing anywhere else. I have just a lot of things, so many things. Go to my Patreon community, Miroslava Casiano. The link is going to be in the description, and you'll be able to see everything that I'm going to be offering there. Your support means the world. I'm you know I'm finally ready to just be myself and to make money being myself, because why not? So yeah, I'll see you there, and I'll see you on the next episode. Again, we'll meet in the architectural source, and then we'll end this trinity with the certainty of God. So I'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you for being here.